All right, let's take a look at some active partner stretching. This is great for post-run. If you've got some tight muscles, you can really work it out. And so you just grab one of your running partners, your spouse, whatever it may be, and have them do some active stretching with you.
Yeah, you know, the active partner stretching is, you know, it's a great way just to get a little bit more flexible, you know, because you're going to be able to have someone to push you a little further into the range. We're not trying to, you know, tear any muscles or anything like that. We're just trying to get a good deep stretch in, you know, that you couldn't get on your own. So it's a little bit helpful to kind of open things up. So we're going to show you how it works here. So let's start out with just having you lay flat on the ground, right? And again, what we're going to do, you know, what I like to do with the active stretching is kind of just start all the way down at the bottom, right? So we're starting to rest, we're going to work the calves. So what we'll do is we kind of take a slight bend in that knee, and we're going to work the soleus and Achilles part of that muscle. So what we're going to do is have you bring the foot up, working tib anterior, which are all the shin muscles, and then we're just going to assist a little bit. And then you're going to come back down. So none of the stretches hold too long, no more than like a second or two, and then back down. You can see it's a pumping motion or, you know, just an active exercise really, and with a little bit of a push at the end to get deep into that stretch. Feeling that one?
Yeah, and the question that a lot of people have is how many times or for how long do I hold each muscle that I'm stretching?
Right, so we kind of take stretching, you know, with us, similar to what we do with our exercises, so we kind of do sets and reps. So typically when we're just doing a functional warm-up stretch, we'll do just one set of 10 to 12 reps. Really, it's kind of like you're just coming up for a second, holding it for a second or two, and then back down. So it's not much different than an exercise, except that it's non-weighted, and a little bit of assistance on the very top end of that contraction on the front side of the leg. Good. All right, so once we've done the calf, we can kind of go into the bigger muscles, into the hamstrings. So if you're tight, you know, you just ran a marathon, any kind of race, you're just not that flexible, we'll put a bend in that opposite leg. What we're going to do is take the working leg here that we're going to stretch, and we're going to do a little bit of hip flexion. So now what you're going to do is you're going to work this muscle to stretch this one. So quads to stretch the hamstrings. As the partner, I'm just kind of following your motion and then providing a little bit of assistance where you kind of run into trouble. It gets a little bit of a deeper stretch, and as we try to lock in that knee, you feel it really deep right behind that knee and the hamstrings.
Right, and the temptation for me just laying here is to let you do all the work. But
exactly, and as you see, I can take my hand away and just bring it in at the end. So really kind of focus on making sure you're doing most of the work, and that's going to be, you know, a safer way to stretch and avoid yanking on it. If I'm sitting here and I'm pounding on your leg and yanking on it, we could do some tearing, and we don't really want, you know, that's not the goal of here. It's just to get things a little more fluid. Good. So that's what we call a bent leg hamstring stretch, gets the bottom portion. But since the hamstrings are a two-joint muscle, we're going to want to do a straight leg one as well. So same concept here. We're going to take that same leg, and now you're going to work more muscles of the front. Hip flexors are now going to get involved, as well as all the quad muscles. And really, you're just going to try to lift that leg straight up towards the shoulder and then back down. So you're working on the way up, breathing, making sure to breathe out, exhale, big stretch, and then back down.
And I feel the temptation for my hips to start coming off the ground here.
Right, so if we're getting too deep with it, your whole body's going to start to compensate. So don't try to, you know, become Gumby in a day. You know, just really kind of sit in here and, you know, let's find where your range of motion is. You know, it's going to actively improve, and it's going to change throughout the day. You know, you get up in the morning, you're going to be a little bit tight. That's fine, but we're going to, you know, that's the purpose of the stretching. Get you loose before you have to go work out. Or post-workout, you just did a real hard workout, muscles are a bit dehydrated and tired, you're a little tight. We do it post-workout to return to normal function. Excellent. So now we've done calves and hamstrings. So what we'll look at now is doing the inner thigh, or what we call the adductors. So in this stretch, we're going to drop that leg down, and actually we'll drop both legs down here. And now you're going to work lateral side muscles, so glutes and IT bands to open up adductors. So you're going to kind of bring the leg out as far as you can, and again, I'm just going to assist you to bring it out further and back. So the whole time you're stabilizing the core, keeping the abs tight, pectineus tight, not trying to over-rotate or let the back fall off the ground, just to get a deep stretch in there. You have multiple adductor muscles, so you can go with a kind of straight foot, or you can actually turn it out a little bit. get a little different angle on there. There's pretty much no wrong way in terms of playing with the angles here. So be creative. You're going to find certain things are tight in one direction versus the other. So play around with it and you'll get a good stretch. Feeling that one?
Yeah, that was great.
Good. So now we got to do the opposite. So we've just stretched adductors. We're going to stretch abductors. So what we're going to do is we'll take the opposite leg for ease here. Now you're going to work all those inside muscles, stretching the outside. So you're going to come low across the body, working that inside as far as you can. I'm here to assist, stretching all the way that lateral side. Again, abs are staying stable, exhaling as you go, and back. So again, I'm just here to assist. You're going to work it as much as you can, breathing out, and back down. Really good with this active stretching is it really kind of teaches a lot of neural education on muscles that you wouldn't normally use when you're running. You know, we tend to run in straight lines. So doing a lot of lateral motion really wakes up everything else that you normally don't do on a normal run. Good. So now we've got adductors, abductors, hamstrings. Kind of the last one in the chain is these is the glutes, biggest powerful muscle we got on that back side. So what we want to do with the glutes is we're going to bend this knee up here, kind of start towards same shoulder of the leg we're stretching, and then gradually work across. So the first stretch is working hip flexors, which are the opposite muscle, and just kind of back and forth with that same pumping motion. If you're doing it on your own, you're going to kind of wrap the hands around it and get a deep stretch. But if you've got a partner to assist, I'm just going to kind of bring you to that end range. So as we find it opening up, moving across the body towards now the midline of the torso, and then as we really get it going, moving across all the way to that opposite shoulder, get really deep into that glute max. How's that feeling?
That's great.
And again, we're not trying to overdo it, really just kind of getting that slight bit of, ooh, okay, I'm getting the stretch in there, and then let it go. That way, we don't get the body to be really defensive with it, and it'll just kind of gradually let us loosen it up without just locking down to protect itself. Good, how's that feel?
Feels good, and I didn't feel like I was bouncing when I was stretching, which, you know, you see some people stretching and they're really, their muscles are vibrating, and I wasn't feeling that at all.
Yeah, it's a lot different than, you know, stretching in the 70s that was like ballistic stretching. It's very controlled, very smooth, kind of yoga-esque, you know, and a lot of it's just understanding where your range of motion is and just kind of working through that, you know. You'll get better if you keep stretching.